The silent witness. The night sky growls, warning the earth below. Heavy raindrops hammer against the thatched roofs, running down the walls in restless streams. The wind howls through the compound, rattling wooden shutters. The storm speaks, but not louder than the voices inside the chief's house. A small hand scrubs the stone floor, back and forth, steady and quick. The sound blends with the rain, unnoticed, but the ears that belong to the hand hear everything. A voice, sharp and bitter. If anyone finds out, we are finished. Another, lower, firmer. It must remain buried. No one can ever know the truth. The girl does not look up. She does not move. Only her hands, back and forth, slow enough to listen, fast enough to seem busy. A rustle of fabric, a glance over the shoulder. Suspicious eyes scan the corridor. But the girl is just a shadow, a shape in the dim light, nothing more than a maid. The footsteps fade, the voice is swallowed by the storm, but the words remain, lodged deep in the silent witness's mind. The night stretches, restless. A lantern flickers, casting long, uneasy shadows. The house has settled, but one pair of feet moves through the darkness. Quiet, careful, drawn by the whisper of something unseen. A figure in a dark shawl glides across the corridor. She moves like someone who does not want to be watched. But the maid sees everything. A door creaks open, a hesitant step inside. The figure pauses, listening. The storm rumbles, covering the sound of rustling fabric. The maid presses herself into the shadows, barely breathing. A wooden panel slides open. Hands move quickly, hiding something inside, pushing it deep into secrecy. A whisper, too soft to hear before the panel clicks shut. The shawl vanishes into the hallway, swallowed by darkness. The maid remains, fingers curling against the wooden beam. The storm rages outside, but a different kind of storm brews within her. She says nothing, but she will remember everything. The forbidden secrets. The halls are heavy with sorrow. Once filled with laughter and music, the compound now carries the weight of unspoken grief. The air is thick with the scent of burning wood, but it does nothing to warm the cold silence. By the fire, a woman sits unmoving, wrapped in a cloth of mourning. Her eyes are hollow, her lips cracked from whispered prayers that bring no answer. Night after night she waits, but her son does not return. The household moves around her, careful not to disturb the ghost of her pain. Servants tread lightly, speaking in hushed tones. They glance at her, then away, as if afraid to look too long. Everyone knows. Mama Ada has not been the same since the boy vanished. In the shadows of grief, another figure rises. A woman with sharp eyes and a knowing smile. Her voice cuts through the silence, a whisper of command. Send them away. We need loyal hands. One by one, servants are dismissed. Guards take new orders. The whispers grow louder. Madame Kulu no longer waits for permission. She gives the orders now. Even the chief does not argue. His once powerful presence has faded. His shoulders, once strong, seem burdened. His words, once law, now feel uncertain. At village meetings, he stares into the distance. When he speaks, his voice wavers. Some say grief has broken him. Others say something else is at play. Zainabu sees it all. She does not ask questions, but her eyes miss nothing. She scrubs the floors, carries the water, clears the plates, but she also listens. She watches Madame Kulu's fingers tap against her beaded bracelet, the way her lips curl in amusement when no one is looking. She notices the servants hesitate before speaking, their gazes flickering toward the woman who now controls the house. And then there is the visitor. He comes only after dark, a shadow against the moonlight, slipping through the side gate. He does not greet the guards. He does not linger. Voices rise and fall behind the closed doors of Madame Kulu's chambers, hushed, urgent, sometimes angry, sometimes amused. When he leaves, Madame Kulu's shoulders straighten. Her eyes gleam with something that does not belong to a grieving woman. Zainabu grips the hem of her wrapper. Something is wrong. The air is missing. The chief is fading. Madame Kulu grows stronger. The truth is hiding in this house, and she will find it. The trap is set. Zainabu moves through the day as if nothing has changed. Eyes lowered, hands busy, scrubbing, sweeping, fetching water, each task done with quiet precision. Madame Kulu watches her closely. Zainabu feels the weight of those eyes, sharp and searching. A test, a challenge. But she does not flinch. She hums under her breath as she carries a basket of yams to the kitchen. She kneels to grind millet, her hands steady. They must believe she knows nothing. The moon rises. The compound settles. Zainabu watches from the shadows hidden behind a wooden pillar. There, Malambala, slipping through the back gates, her pulse quickens. A chance, a risk. She moves swiftly, keeping to the darkness, her footsteps silent on the earth. Malambala walks with purpose, glancing over his shoulder once, twice. Zainabu presses herself against the trunk of an old baobab tree, waiting. He vanishes behind the chief's estate. She waits, then follows. A small shed, hidden behind overgrown bushes, half forgotten. Malambala pulls out a key, unlocks the wooden door, and steps inside. A moment, then another. When he emerges, he locks the door again and strides away, disappearing into the night. Zainabu remains still, counting the breaths between his footsteps until silence stretches long and unbroken. Then she moves. She circles the shed, testing the wooden boards. Her fingers find a panel, loose from age and neglect. She pushes. It shifts. She slips inside. Darkness. The air is thick, stale, suffocating. Dust swirls in the faint sliver of moonlight creeping through the cracks. Zainabu's hands fumble forward, brushing against rough sacks. Rice, piled high. Then, fabric, soft, torn. She lifts it closer to the dim light. Her breath catches, ripped clothes, blood-stained. The chief's son. A chill wraps around her spine. Her fingers tighten over the cloth as if holding onto it will anchor her to the ground. A sound outside. Footsteps. She freezes. Someone is coming. Her heartbeat pounds, loud in the silence. If they find her here, her grip tightens. There is no turning back. The exposure. Drums thunder across the village, their deep beats shaking the earth beneath dancing feet. The festival is alive with music, laughter, and the scent of roasted meat. Chief Danjuma sits at the head of the gathering, his golden staff resting against his knee. Villagers clap and cheer, their voices rising in celebration. But beneath the joy, something simmers, an undercurrent only a few can sense. Zainabu stands at the edge of the crowd, clutching a bundle wrapped in cloth. Her fingers tremble, but her eyes stay locked on the chief. Tonight, the truth will rise. Madame Kulu sits beside the chief, draped in fine cloth, her eyes gleaming with triumph. Zainabu watches her closely, every movement, every glance. The moment is near. She inhales, steadying herself. If she hesitates, all will be lost. Chief Danjuma rises, lifting his staff. The crowd stills. Today, I name my rightful heir. Madame Kulu's son steps forward, smiling, already prepared to receive the honor. The elders nod in approval. The warriors cross their arms in respect. Madame Kulu tilts her chin higher, victory within her grasp. Zainabu steps forward. Gasps ripple through the gathering. A maid interrupting the chief? Her voice wavers, but she does not step back. Before you do this, my chief, there is something you must see. Silence. All eyes turn to her. She holds her breath and throws the bundle onto the ground. Blood-stained cloth spills across the earth. The chief's son's clothes, torn, marked with death. A murmur rolls through the crowd, growing louder. Madame Kulu's face pales. Lies, she hisses, leaping to her feet. This girl is mad. The chief frowns, staring at the rags at his feet. His hands tighten around his staff. Zainabu holds her ground. Then what about this? The chief blinks. His fingers brush against something in his robe, something that wasn't there before. He pulls it out, a parchment. The crowd leans in, the elders squint at the ink, a forged document, names scratched out, signatures faked, silence, thick, suffocating. Then, explain yourself, chief. The elders step forward. Madame Kulu stumbles back. The trap has closed. The exposure. Drums thunder across the village, their deep beats shaking the earth beneath dancing feet. The festival is alive with music, laughter, and the scent of roasted meat. Chief Danjuma sits at the head of the gathering, his golden staff resting against his knee. Villagers clap and cheer, their voices rising in celebration. But beneath the joy, something simmers, an undercurrent only a few can sense. Zainabu stands at the edge of the crowd, clutching a bundle wrapped in cloth. Her fingers tremble, but her eyes stay locked on the chief. Tonight, the truth will rise. Madame Kulu sits beside the chief, draped in fine cloth, her eyes gleaming with triumph. Zainabu watches her closely, every movement, every glance. The moment is near. She inhales, steadying herself. If she hesitates, all will be lost. Chief Danjuma rises, lifting his staff. The crowd stills. Today, I name my rightful heir. Madame Kulu's son steps forward, smiling, already prepared to receive the honor. The elders nod in approval. The warriors cross their arms in respect. Madame Kulu tilts her chin higher, victory within her grasp. Zainabu steps forward. Gasps ripple through the gathering. A maid, interrupting the chief, Her voice wavers, but she does not step back. "Before you do this, my chief, there is something you must see." Silence. All eyes turn to her. She holds her breath and throws the bundle onto the ground. Blood-stained cloth spills across the earth, the chief's son's clothes, torn, marked with death. A murmur rolls through the crowd, growing louder. Madame Kulu's face pales. "Lies," she hisses, leaping to her feet. "This girl is mad." The chief frowns, staring at the rags at his feet. His hands tighten around his staff. Zainabu holds her ground. "Then what about this?" The chief blinks. His fingers brush against something in his robe, something that wasn't there before. He pulls it out. A parchment. The crowd leans in. The elders squint at the ink. A forged document. Names scratched out. Signatures faked. Silence thick, suffocating. Then, "Explain yourself, chief." The elders step forward. Madame Kulu stumbles back. The trap has closed. Justice is served. Silence grips the gathering, thick as a brewing storm. The chief's gaze burns with fury, his hands curling into fists. "Seize them!" His voice cracks like a whip. Guards rush forward. Madame Kulu stumbles back, eyes darting for an escape, but there is none. The villagers watch, breath held, waiting for the final judgment. "This is a trick, a plot to ruin me." Madame Kulu shrieks, her voice wild, but the crowd does not stir. Their eyes shift to Malambala. Sweat glistens on his brow. His hands tremble. His mouth opens, but no words come. Truth presses on his chest, heavy as a boulder. His knees buckle. His breath comes in short, ragged bursts. The boy was never missing. His whisper carries through the stunned silence. The villagers lean in. Malambala swallows hard. He was poisoned on Madame Kulu's orders. Gasps break through the night. The elders shake their heads, sorrow darkening their faces. Madame Kulu's lips part, but no words come. Cries of outrage ripple through the crowd. The chief, his body rigid, turns slowly to face the woman he once trusted. His fingers tighten around his staff. His jaw clenches. "You took my son." His voice is raw, heavy with grief. "Now you will face his fate." Madame Kulu falls to her knees. "My chief, please." But the elders step forward. "No mercy," they declare. "She is no longer of this village. She is no longer of this family. Her name will be erased. She will be remembered as nothing." The guards drag her away, her screams swallowed by the night. Malambala follows, head hanging low, his fate sealed. The villagers murmur, then cheer, but Zainabu does not move. She watches it all, standing tall. No longer just a maid, she is the one who brought truth to light. The chief's gaze lingers on the empty seat beside him. His shoulders slump, his strength drained. Justice has been done, his voice wavers. But my son is gone. The festival ends, not in victory, but in solemn reflection. Days pass. The village moves on, but not unchanged. The chief stands before his people, his eyes softer now. He calls Zainabu forward. "You saw what I could not." His voice carries weight, not just of leadership, but of gratitude. "From today, you are family." The power of the unseen. The village gathers one last time, standing beneath the vast night sky. The festival fires have dimmed, but a new light has emerged. Truth. An elder steps forward, leaning on his staff. His voice is steady, filled with the weight of wisdom. The smallest voice can bring down the mightiest lies. The villagers nod, murmuring among themselves. They have seen it with their own eyes. The mighty had fallen. The overlooked had risen. Another elder speaks, his gaze sweeping across the gathered faces. Truth does not hide forever. It waits for the right eyes to see it. The lesson hangs in the air, settling in every heart. The people whisper of Madame Kulu's greed, of the chief's blindness, and of the maid who was never truly just a maid. The chief turns to Zainabu, his face unreadable. Then he speaks. "You saw what we could not. You saved us all." He steps forward, his voice firm. "From this day, you are no longer a servant. You will stand as a guardian of this household." Gasps ripple through the crowd. A maid, now a guardian? Zainabu bows her head, but not in submission. This time, it is in quiet strength. The villagers watch her with new eyes. Once she moved unseen. Now they bow their heads in respect. Zainabu meets their gazes, her voice steady. Never underestimate the silent observer, for they see everything. And with that, the story of the forgotten maid becomes legend. Lessons to remember. Betrayal and greed, ambition blinds, and unchecked power corrupts. Justice and consequences. Even the strongest can fall when truth rises. The power of the overlooked. The quiet ones watch, listen, and when the time comes, act. Zainabu had been invisible, but in the end, she was the one who changed everything.